Hey everybody, how you doing? This is Dr. Joshua Fredenburg coming to you today. I want to first of all welcome you all to this virtual masterclass where we're going to be focusing on self-care, motivation, resilience, peak performance, and wellness. I'm so excited to be here today. We have some incredible panelists, some incredible speakers. I am telling you, this is the right place to be. It's going to be absolutely incredible. So I'm excited to be here today. I'm excited that you were able to join me this wonderful Thursday afternoon. Now, really quickly, for those of you that may be new, for those of you that have been here before, you know who I am. But for those of you that are new, my name is Dr. Joshua Fredenburg, and I'm a nationally recognized speaker, author of 7 books, and president of the Circle of Change Leadership Conference. And for those that aren't aware of the Circle of Change Leadership Conference, not only are they a sponsor of these virtual masterclasses, but ultimately the purpose of the Circle of Change Leadership Experience is, number 1, to help students and professionals discover the leader from within. Number 2, to develop the professional and leadership skills necessary to position themselves for career leadership success. And number 3, the inspiration, the confidence to go out there and make an impact and leave their mark in the world. This is a Circle of Change Leadership Conference, and we've been doing it for the past 10 years, not only in Los Angeles, but we also have done it in New York, and it's been extremely impactful. But unfortunately, this March, because of COVID-19, we're not going to be able to join together this year. Instead, we are going virtual. Yes, we are going to be virtual this upcoming fall, November 20th through the 22nd, and December 4th through the 6th. And some people have already reached out to me about it, and they said, does that mean I get to go to both weekends? Yes, this is 2 weekends, 1 conference. And the reason we spread it out, number 1, we're going to have more speakers, we're going to have more panels, we're going to have more customized leadership sessions for students as well as professionals. We actually have a track that's putting together right now that's going to be for professionals as well. So it's going to be amazing. We're literally 2.5 months away. I am super excited about this event. It's going to be off the charts. So if you have students, if you're a professional and you're looking for an experience, to have a transformational experience, I want to encourage you to make sure that you register. Registration is up now. Some of the people that are going to be at the conference are going to be on the panel today as well. Again, our video producer, Mike, coming all the way from Portland, Oregon. We'll put the link in the chat box, but basically if you click on the link, you'll not only be able to go to the website, but also you can go to our Google Docs and let me know that you want to have a conversation. I can talk with you more about it, why I believe not only should your students attend, but also as professionals, you should attend as well. It's going to be amazing. It's going to be outstanding, and I'm super excited because we're getting closer and closer to the conference. Now, before we get started, I'm not going to necessarily do a poll, but what I want to do is I want to give you all the opportunity to represent. I want to know, where are you coming from? So if you can do in the chat box real quick, please let me know your school, know your city. Where are you coming from? This is your chance to represent. Here today, we literally have 3 panelists from Florida. We have 1 panelist from Washington, 1 from California, and 1 from the ATL. I see Texas A&M University. I see University of Alaska. Hello, Alaska. Julian. I see Detroit, Michigan. Embry, Alabama. San Juan, Puerto Rico. I think I saw them there. Central Michigan. Man, Middle Tennessee. I see it. I see represent. We got people all over the country. And I'm just so excited and so happy that all of you are here to join us today as we're getting ready to get into this conversation. Again, not only do I encourage you to listen to what we're going to say, but make sure you network with each other. Make sure you talk to each other. Keep the chat box lit. Keep it excited. Conversate with each other, meet one another, connect with one another, because that's the purpose of this, not only to give you great information to help you, but more importantly, also for you all to connect with one another. I often tell people, no matter how great you are, no matter how smart you are, no matter how strong you are, you're only as good as the people you surround yourself with. And we believe that here at the Circle of Change Leadership Conference. And I believe the same is true with the virtual masterclass. So make sure you network and make sure you connect. As you all are representing, we're going to get ready to get into our presentation, because again, the reason we're here today is to have this conversation about how do we stay motivated, how do we self-care, how do we deal with challenges, how do we deal with obstacles. And again, the purpose of this virtual masterclass was really simple. We are here to motivate you. We're here to inspire you. We're here to give you the tools necessary, so whatever comes your way, whatever challenge comes your way, you'll be equipped and empowered, not only to overcome, but also to help other people in the process. And when I thought about this virtual masterclass, I said, man, who are some of the most inspirational people that I know, some of the most sought after speakers in the country, and I got them here today. I am just as excited as you to hear what they had to say. So without further ado, we're getting ready to introduce them. Our first panelist comes all the way from Sacramento. His name, I call him KB, Coach Greatness. Kevin Bracy, if you could introduce yourself, tell us a little bit about where you're coming from, and just let us know, Kev, what's going on, man? How you doing?
Man, I'm fantastic right in this moment right now because I'm in the space of greatness. Dr. J, I've known you for a lot of years, and to be in the space with you and all the difference you have made and continue to make around the world, man, I salute you. I embrace you. I got love for you. I see you. So thank you for seeing me. The other phenomenal orators that are in this space, man, this is just, there's nothing else I'd rather be doing this movie but being in this space right now. Can you guys hear me?
Yes, we can, Kev. We hear you really good, okay, brother. I hear you, man.
All right.
Hear you.
I just want to make sure. I just heard something. I just want to make sure. Again, my name is Kevin Bracy. I'm a motivational entertainer. What I do is I go out and I deliver presentations to elementary school students, middle school students, high school students, teachers, college students. I do corporations and I do sports teams. I'm the creator of an organization called the Reach One Alliance, where we talk about each one, reach one. Every single day, reach out to somebody, make a positive difference in their lives. And we plant Reach One Alliance Club, which is a bully prevention, character building program on different campuses around the city of Sacramento and around the state of California. I'm an author of a book. You can see the name behind me. It's called Scared Great, because I've been scared all my life, but it's okay to be a friend. It's okay to be scared. And as long as you know how to steer your fear, I teach people how to steer their fear right into their greatness. So what's up with me? I'm excited to be in this space, and I'm excited to sit back and learn from these other orators that are coming after me right now. Thank you, Dr. J.
Awesome. Thank you so much, KB. So excited to have you on this virtual masterclass today. Our next panelist, he's not a stranger at all. He's been on a couple of our incredible masterclasses. Ernesto Mejia, coming right here from Florida. Ernesto, welcome again. Introduce yourself and just take some time to share some insight really quickly before we move on to our next panelist.
For sure. Thank you. Well, first and foremost, thank you to you, Josh, and to everybody else. It's always a pleasure and an honor to be able to join y'all and share just some words of wisdom, some inspiration, some insight, some experience. I'm part of the Cool Speak family. Cool Speak is a youth engagement company. We work with roughly 250,000 students across the nation every year, middle school through typically first year of college, or as in some of our programs, Gear Up call them, the 7th year. We do all of our services in English and Spanish. Entonces también presentamos en español, que me da mucho orgullo decir. We also present in Spanish. Gives me a pleasure to be able to say. And again, we just like to be able to share through our experiences, through our backgrounds, and also to facilitate dialogue more so than try to be the lecturer or the teacher or tell you what to do. We like to facilitate dialogue, healthy dialogue, beneficial dialogue, by the dialogue that it's going to help everybody grow and develop. And in these sessions, Josh, as you already know, I like to challenge y'all. I like to give you ideas, strategies, techniques, and I will start off before we even begin letting you know that you will hear probably 100 ideas. None of them will work unless you see one all the way through. We have the luxury at Cool Speak to say that we have a lot of corporate partnerships, so we get to work with the likes of McDonald's, AT&T, US Bank, Target to provide programming for our youth. Ultimately, that is our main market, but we also work with the professionals that serve them as well as our parents. So I'll keep it short and to the point because I want to get to the nitty-gritty stuff with you, man. So thank you.
Thank you so much, Ernesto. So good to have you once again. Thank you so much for being a part of this powerful conversation. Our next panelist, she's representing for the women. T.I., she's like my sister now. I've adopted her and Pretty Tammy, the DJ, both my sisters. I want to welcome you to the stage. T.I., introduce yourself. You represent the ATL. It's all you.
I love it. Listen, he said he has adopted me now. I'm like his sister now. Okay, so I got upgraded from coach to first class, huh? Is that right, Josh?
Yeah, first class, T.I., first class.
Hey, listen, I have been accustomed to flying first class for a long time. So now we're just standing shoulder to shoulder. I want to say what's up, everybody. My name is Tish Norman. I am so excited and so glad to go in my basement and go to work. How about that? All right. I am excited to go to my basement and go to work. Listen, I too am like this amazing panel and the stalwart in the motivational, educational speaking realm who are on this call right now. And I don't know about anybody else, but all 300 people who are watching, the 200 people, whoever on here, you're getting about $1 million worth of speaker fees right now. If you combine all of us together, it's just a lituation, and I'm glad to be a part of it. Like Josh said, like Kevin said, like Ernesto said, we are here, we are out here in these streets, and we are on the virtual platforms, changing people's lives, talking to people, educating people, enlightening people with the words that come out of our mouth and the actions and the deeds that we show and touch every time we step in front of an audience. I founded a company 15 years ago called Transforming Leaders Now under the premise of we got work to do. There's information and there's academic and there's policy that takes place in the four walls of a classroom, right? In the four walls of a workroom. However, what is the learning that's necessary that needs to take place outside of the workroom, outside of the classroom? And so with that being said, that motivated me to start a business 15 years ago. And can I say I have been doing this full time since then? That's right, I have not had a full-time job since 2005. And so I am so blessed and fortunate to say that this industry, this speaking game has been able to sustain me all of this time. So no, Josh, I'm not just repping for the ladies today. Yes, I'm repping for the ladies, but I'm repping for everybody on there because no matter how many people are on here, no matter your station in life, no matter your background, I will have a word for you. My message is inclusive and it will meet you where you are. So let's get this topic started. I'm ready. Let's go.
Let's go, T.I. That's what I'm talking about, man. Give it up for Tish Norman. Thank you so much for introducing yourself. Now, again, our next panelist, he was voted as one of the top 100 speakers in the world. He was on there with some of the most greatest speakers you've heard of, Anthony Robbins, Les Brown, and so many other incredible speakers. He's one of my good friends. He's one of my brothers. He's also located here in Florida. Can y'all please give it up for my man, Delatorro McNeal? It's all you, brother.
What's going on, everybody? Delatorro McNeal II, peak performance expert, renowned keynote speaker, best-selling author. I am fortunate and blessed to be with this incredible faculty, and I'm so pumped about you. I'm excited that you're here in this moment and in this time, and I'm excited about this wonderful opportunity that we have to learn and grow and build together. I've been an entrepreneur for 20 years. I've been a full-time speaker for the last 17 years. I'm very fortunate and blessed to have given over 4,000 paid talks all around the planet, and I'm very, very grateful for that. And I just want to encourage you and let you know, I spent the first 6 years of my speaking career speaking exclusively to colleges and universities all across the country, and I was labeled an at-risk youth in the 5th and 6th grade, told academically I wasn't going to amount to much of anything. But my first 6th grade teacher relabeled my life, and she told me, you're not a youth at risk, you're a youth at promise. And she began to mentor me. I went on to Florida State University. I got a bachelor's and master's degrees, 2 degrees in 5 years with a 4.0 and 0 student loan debt. Year to date, I've spoken to over 1 million students live. And I founded an organization called Crush University because my philosophy is this, and I want you to type this in the chat. Whatever you do, crush it. Whatever you do, give it your best, give it your all, or don't do it at all. Whatever you do, crush it, because crush it is an acronym. It stands for capitalize, realize, utilize, strategize, and hustle. I want to see the chat going off. Whatever you do, crush it. I want you to type that in the chat, because here's what I firmly believe. You got to capitalize on this opportunity for quality college education. You got to realize your goals and dreams through this quality college education. You got to utilize all your gifts, talents, abilities, and skills. You got to strategize a massive action plan. And at the end of the day, my friend, like Ernesto said, you got to hustle. You got to get busy. You got to take action. Because the truth is, watch this, pay close attention, and write this quote down. It'll change your whole life. I firmly believe this. Good things do come to those who wait, but it's only those things left behind by those who hustle. I'm going to say that again. Good things do come to those who wait, but it's only those things left behind by those who hustle. So while we're still in this pseudo-mandatory staycation, quarantine, whatever you want to call it, now is your time to develop. Now is your time to skill up. Now is your time to level up as never before, because the best athletes and the greatest champions are always made in the off season. And it's in the off season when you get faster, it's when you get stronger, it's when you get smarter, it's when you get wiser. So I'm excited to be a part of this incredible faculty. I'm on all social media based on my first name, @Delatorro. Follow me on Instagram. I can't wait to be a part of this powerful conversation. I've written 7 books. I've done reality television. I'm humbled and I'm blessed to do what I love for a living. I'm a single dad of 2 girls, Miracle and Hope, and a new puppy named Simba. I'll show y'all Simba later. But at the end of the day, I'm just excited to be a part of the conversation, and I'm excited to take you to the next level.
Awesome, Dale. Thank you so much, man. Crush it. Crush it, crush it, crush it. I love it. I love it. Our last panelist, he is an American ninja. He's an incredible speaker, an incredible motivator, changing lives all across the country, has an incredible project that's coming out real soon. I'm not sure if he's going to share that with us today, but either way, Juan, it's so great to see you, man. Welcome. Introduce yourself, coming all the way from the Northwest. Seattle is in the house. Let's go, Juan. It's on you.
Awesome, Josh. Hey, guys. My name is Hoan Do, pronounced like the magic wand without the D. And I'm coming here from sunny Seattle, Washington. I am from a family that escaped the Vietnam War, so I understood from a very young age the importance of resilience and grit. For the last decade, I've had the honor to live out my calling, partnering with schools and with companies, empowering people to overcome their adversities by providing practical strategies to develop resilience and mental strength. And as we begin our time here together, I realize that our biggest setbacks in life will provide our biggest learning lessons for our biggest comebacks in life. And in our time together, you're gonna gain some valuable lessons from amazing speakers, but also from one another. So I'm honored to be here. Look forward to connecting you more.
Awesome. Thank you so much, Juan. It's so good to have you a part of this virtual masterclass. I'm going to get right into it, y'all. We got some incredible speakers. They're going to drop incredible knowledge. And so I'm going to begin with the first question because, you know, no reason to wait around. Let's get right into it. This is going to be an empowering moment. So I'm just going to get your seatbelts ready because I'm ready to learn as well. If I had a pen, I'd put a pen out right now. But so as many of you know, I'm a national speaker. And over the past 2.5 months, not only have I done a couple of in-person presentations, but about 80% or 90% of my presentations have been virtual. And throughout my presentations, I often do what I call a poll. And my first poll that I often ask a variety of audiences is, what's been your greatest challenge during COVID-19? And I list a variety of things. And about 90% of the people that participate in this poll, the number one thing that people say is most challenging is worry, is stress, is fear and uncertainty of the unknown. In essence, the number one thing I always get with this poll is worry, is stress, is fear, and uncertainty of the unknown. And so I want to begin with my panel. I'm going to start with Kevin Bracy. I'm going to go all the way to Sacramento. And I'm going to start with you, Kev. And the first question I want to ask you, how do you deal with worry? How do you deal with stress? How do you deal with these challenges that many people are facing right now? What can professionals do in their own individual lives, but also what can they share with their students to overcome these real challenges that I'm sure people are facing right now? What can we do, Kev?
You know, I think that's a great question. I think first and foremost, where it starts for me, Dr. J, is it's hard. Let's keep it real. I mean, we can do all the motivational gobbledygook that we want, but I think there's this misconception that because what we do on this panel is we inspire, we motivate, we encourage people, that we never feel down and out, that we never feel, that we never go into the doldrums. So first and foremost, it's hard. It's not easy. And I have my moments. It just happened to be on this panel today and in this space today is what got me feeling so great. Got me energized. I feel I can go run a marathon right now because I'm in this space. But when all the clapping and the shouting and the words die down and we're back underneath our roof, then what? You know, for me, what I have to do is and it's not easy. It may sound easy, but it's not easy. I literally have to focus on winning the day. Yes, I have a vision. Yes, I know what I want my future to be, but I have to shorten my sight and just focus on the 17 hours of functionality while I'm awake. We sleep, what, 5 to 8 hours a day, but there's 17 hours of functionality. So my question is, what do I have to do every day in order to win my day? I've had to identify my daily focus areas. When I wake up, it's a routine, right? Right now, it's hard to get in a routine because, like you said, there's so much uncertainty, so much fear, so much, all of the worry and stress. So it takes a tremendous amount of focus on those 17 hours of functionality while I'm up, walking around, doing what I do with my family, doing what I do with my virtual presentations. What are those daily focus areas for me? So I suggest identify what are those areas in your life that you've got to make sure that you spend time in and with in order for you at the end of your day to be able to look back after those 17 hours, 18, whatever it is, and say, yes, I won the day, without pumping yourself up. For me, I've identified 6 areas. I call it my significant 6. For me, while I'm awake, no matter what's going on in the world, no matter how much uncertainty and fear and stress that I feel just like you, it's for me. No order of importance here. Family, faith, fitness, finances, future, and fundraising. Those are the 6 areas when I'm up and awake. I've got to make sure throughout my day that I check those areas off. I got a family. I've been married 22 years. Just celebrated my 22nd year anniversary with my wife, Jess. I got to spend time with Jess. I got to spend time with my son. I got to spend time on the phone with my daughter. Check. Faith. I've got to give, for me, I've got to give God the glory. I've got to spend some quiet time with my worship music, sometimes with nothing at all, and just be still and just allow my faith to lead this process, because I can't see what's going to happen in the future, but faith is believing in what your eyes can't see. Third, I got to get my workout in. I said workouts, S plural. For me, I need 2 workouts, right? I got to get that in. Finances. What my online speakers program, First Step for Speakers, my books that are selling, my virtual presentations, are our finances, are we straight? Check. Future, what projects am I working on today that's connected to the future that I see for me and my family? And fundraising, giving myself to a cause that's greater than me. And for us, it's helping families who have children like us, who have chronic pain. So identify our 6 or 7 or 5 areas, your daily focus areas, and make sure that we spend time, no matter what we have going on in our day, no matter how we feel, give those areas attention. So at the end of the day, you can feel significant. Like I did something and I spent time with the things and the people that are most important to me. Win the day, one day at a time.
Tish, what do you have, Tish? Anything you want to chime in on that comment?
Caught up in what Bracy was saying. Give me the question again, Josh.
And as a professional or student, what can we do to overcome the worry, the stress, and the fear and uncertainty that people are facing on a daily basis?
Yeah, that's what I thought you asked. I just wanted to confirm. Here's the thing, guys. There are a lot of words that have come into play into the culture over the last 6 months. Okay, the word pivot, space, Zoom fatigue. I mean, you could name 10, 15 of your own words that we're saying now that we were not saying in January, words we were not saying last September. And so one of those words that resonated with me is giving yourself grace. I'm someone that holds myself to a very high standard, and I plummet when I don't check the goals off. I kick myself. I get down and out on myself when I don't get things accomplished that I set before me. One of my very first speeches that I ever gave was motivators need motivation, right? And so for my SA pros who are on this call, even for my students, teachers, I want you to think of your view intersectionally and inclusively. Because while you're sitting there throwing your own pity party and the only person there showing up to blow out the candles and eat the cake, there are a lot of other people out there in the world who have it so much worse, who wish they had your talent. So what I want people to think about when they feel overwhelmed, right? When they feel like they're stuck, when they feel like, oh my gosh, I got to get up again and go to work. Oh my gosh, I got to get up again and see about these kids and their class and their school and their teacher when I got stuff to do on my own. I want you to give yourself one, grace, because you have been extended grace. You have been extended grace. And so when we would want to complain, there's somebody that's so far off. Bracy and I had a conversation, and then I'll close, Josh. Bracy and I had a conversation, I don't know, better than a month ago, maybe. And he and I, before we even said, how you doing? And before he said, Tish, how you doing? We both were saying, dude, this quarantine, which has put people out on the street, this global and economic pandemic, the epidemic of racism that's happening in the pandemic, or should I say the pandemic that's happening in the epidemic, which is ongoing and incessant in this country, we still have everything we need. If we want to change our location in our home, we can go to another room. We got food, we got clothes, we got choices, and we have been able to provide ourselves and our families with everything we need, even in the toughest of times. So my word would be, Josh, extend yourself some grace. Extend yourself some wiggle room. Extend yourself some slack. And don't crush yourself so much if things seem overwhelming. Give yourself a little break, because nobody knows what's happening from day to day, and extend yourself the grace that you have been able to get extended from God. That's all I have to say.
That's great. That's great, Tish. I love what you said, and I love the focus of grace. And I think right now we're dealing with a lot of challenges, and we're pivoting, and we're having to do new things, even with technology. And so if you're a perfectionist, oh my gosh, things are going to happen. And I often tell people that failure is a preparation for success. But I want to go to you, Ernesto. What's your advice for this question, Ernesto? Hey, Ernesto.
Can you hear me okay, bud?
Yeah.
The classic 2020 words. Can you hear me, or you are on mute? So let me just clarify, Josh, before I go on to the question. Clarify what specifically you want me to answer to make sure I stay on point here.
What I want you to answer, Ernesto, is people are feeling stressed out. Mm-hmm. People are worried. People mm-hmm. are dealing with fear, and people are dealing with the uncertainty of the unknown. Mm-hmm. And what I want to ask you, what's some advice, or what are some things that they can do to overcome any of these challenges? You can focus on one or the other, because I know sure. Juan has some great stuff on stress, but I just want to hear, what your thoughts are.
Yeah, so I think the first thing that is the most challenging aspect of this whole equation, if you will, is being honest with ourselves. People of color, such as myself, come from communities where we think that Vicks Vapor Rub and the 7-Up can cure everything and put you back in place and put you back on track, and it don't work that way, especially right now, and it's not going to work that way. So first and foremost, just like Alcoholics Anonymous per se, or any other recovery or addiction type thing, you have to acknowledge the problem. If you are not sleeping well, if you are not hungry, if you are gaining weight, if you are losing hair, exhibit A, if you are losing hair, if you are short with your family, your kids, your friends, you're isolated, you're literally in a dark space, you binge watch Netflix for hours upon hours upon hours, you find yourself scrolling nonstop on social media. These are indicators that we're not doing okay. And the first thing that I'm going to suggest that you do after obviously acknowledging the problem is trying to change something small. The problem is we try to fix everything over a course of a day. I'm overweight, so I'm just not going to eat for a day or two, and then I'm going to exercise for 4 hours the next day, and then I'll be fine. That's not how it works. You need to give it time, and it's going to take time, and it's a process. We didn't get here overnight, even though it may seem like it. We didn't. So we need to give the recovery process some time. What can we do during that recovery process? One, make sure that you're talking with somebody. Friend, partner. Don't make that somebody, hopefully, in great detail, your children. By the way, let me tell you why I'm worried about us possibly losing the house. Not a conversation you really want to have with them quite yet, okay? I'm not saying to hide everything, but I am saying try to vent, try to listen, try to talk, try to communicate with somebody so that you're expressing yourself, you're letting it out. Relationships are taking stresses right now. Your work is stressing right now. This virtual thing, while it seems great because we get to be home, we're all discovering that just means we work twice as hard via our computer now, and even longer. So we need to cut things off. So I am a big proponent of getting your sleep, exercising, changing your diet. When I say changing your diet, I'm not asking anything drastic. I'll make it simple for you. If you want to do, I practice fasting for a while now, and it's been very beneficial for me. I try to eat in an 8-hour window. I will tell you, consult your doctors. I'm not a physician. I'm just telling you what worked for me. And please take everything that's being said with a grain of salt, because what works for one might not work for the other. I try to eat between noon and 8. I'll get my exercise in, because if I sweat, to me, I've changed my mentality that sweat coming out of my body is anger, frustration, stress, challenges, struggles, and I need to let it out. And that sweat represents that for me. So that's what I do when I work out. And lastly is just making sure I'm spending time with my family. If you aren't doing what your calling is, it's only going to add to the stressors. Some of us, and I say this often, and I don't say it to be rude, I say it to be honest. It may be time to update your resume and start looking for somewhere else that you like, that you appreciate, because most of us don't quit jobs. We quit people. And it's the people that it's around us that are stressing us. So those are just a few suggestions, and I'll get into some more later, but we're gonna need to change our lenses. There are positives happening out there. But, you know, be like Mr. Rogers, look amongst the chaos and look for the people helping. There are good things happening. Let's talk more about those, because we're talking way too much about the bad things happening. There are definitely good things happening. And before you move over, I want to give a shout out to my boy Juan, because he literally did this with me on a call this week. We started talking, and the first thing he said is, tell me something that's exciting you right now. Something that, you know, you're really excited about, that moves you, that's getting you going. Bro, Juan, shout out to you. That changed my mood. I was happy because I got to talk about something that was exciting and not something negative. The flip side of that, when you talk to somebody, oh, I hate it here. Oh, I hate it over here too. It turns into a hate fest. Talk about the positives instead. There you go.
Juan, I'm gonna come to you, Juan. Stress. This is what you talk about. You go to campuses and you talk about stress, Juan. So Ernesto led me right into you, and Dale, we'll come to you real soon, Dale, because I got some stuff for you as well. But Juan, talk to us.
All right, so I like to keep things simple because life can be complicated. And go and pick in yes if you agree with me in the chat box. I feel if you want to lower your stress, you simply need to learn how to control your PMS. Now, some of you are thinking, no, he didn't. He did not go there. Oh, yeah, I did. And here's the thing is, gentlemen, we have PMS too. It stands for your physical, your mental, and your spiritual health. Ernesto, appreciate the kind words. He also mentioned something great about moving your body and sweating. Your physical health is how you move your body. Think about if you're stressed out, pay attention to what you're physically doing. Your shoulders are probably crunched forward, breathing's probably shallow breaths. So you got to change your physiology. That's why going on a run, doing yoga, it changes what you're physically doing. Second thing is your mental health. That's your state of mind. Whether it's having great conversation, listening to something inspiring, attending a virtual experience like this, you got to feed your mind great stuff to help you to feel less stressed out. And then lastly is your spiritual health. That's making time for you. And I want you to think of it as, think of a car. Imagine if you're going on a road trip and you see that the engine check light turns on. What would you do? I mean, enter in the chat box right now. most of you will probably stop and pull over. But the unfortunate thing is so many of us throughout the school year, when our personal engine check light turns on, rather than pulling over, many people push forward. So one thing you can do is every day carve out time for you. I know for me, every time I wake up, regardless of my day, I wake up, I sing for 10 minutes. Why? Because it changes my physiology. It makes me feel good. It changes my focus. I then thank God for everything in my life, from my eyes that can see, my ears that can hear, my beating heart that can feel. I think about how grateful I am for my wife, for my parents. I think about my brother, my nephew and nieces. Then I think about my goals in different aspects of my life. And then I read something that helped me feel inspired and uplifted. And I believe that if you're willing to incorporate that, to make sure if you want to lower your stress, change your physical, mental, and spiritual health, check this out. I got these 2 $1 bills. This represents us as individuals. I believe if you apply the PMS, change that to lower your stress will decrease 5, 10, or possibly 100-fold.
I love it. I love it, Juan. I love it. I love it. Wow. That was powerful. And you actually set me up. One of the things you said, Juan, that I think is so powerful is this notion of being grateful. Delatorro, I'm going to come to you, but I learned this from you in one of your sessions. I'll never forget it. I've used it, by the way, but I always say I got it from you, so I didn't steal it from you. I'm just citing you when I use this. But some of you said real powerful, I'll never forget. You said it's impossible to be in a negative state when you give thanks. And I thought that was so powerful that if you're giving thanks, it's impossible to stay in a negative state of mind. And I just thought that was so great. And Del, I know you have some stuff to say, and I want to add something on to it since you are a peak performance and you deal with the mind, because in addition to this question, we're going to talk about is when people are mentally exhausted, when they're just mentally exhausted and they're mentally tired. Del, when you go into these Fortune 500 companies and you're talking to these executives and these high potential clients, what are you telling them? What are some strategies you're telling them in order to help them overcome these challenges?
Well, first thing I want to do is I want to ask Juan if he can go ahead and put that $100 bill in the mail for a brother. You know what I'm saying? Now that he's done with that visual, come on, somebody. I need him to go ahead and send that over since he does that with $2 all the time. You know what I'm saying? But no, that was a perfect handoff, Juan. And I agree with you 5,000,000%. A couple things that I want to share that I think is going to be powerful and profound. Every single morning, this is one tip for stress, for anxiety, for uncertainty. Every single morning, I want every one of you all to begin to write in a gratitude journal. One of the things that I do every single morning I do this before I get up and pee, being real honest with you. First thing I do as soon as the alarm goes off, that's another tip. Never get up to an alarm that is alerting. From now on, every one of you all who's watching this, I want you to change the way you wake up. You want to be gently pulled out of sleep. You don't want to be jolted out of sleep. Because as soon as you hear it puts your brain into emergency mode. And now all of a sudden your whole day is built around emergency and responding versus thinking. You just missed that. We spend the rest of the day, because how you start the day is how you execute the day. If you wake up in emergency mode, the whole rest of the day, you're gonna be spending the whole rest of the day even in more stress. That's why I never wake up to any of that stuff. The alarms that are on my phone are like spa music. They're tranquil. They're songs that I enjoy. You know, Pharrell's Happy, something that's upbeat, that's positive. A Kirk Franklin song, Today's Gonna Be a Good Day, God's a Good God, whatever. I play something upbeat that pulls me gently out of sleep instead of shaking the heck out of me out of sleep. So that's number one. Next thing I do is I grab my gratitude journal and I write down, watch this y'all, 10 things that I'm grateful for before the day starts. Here's why this is profound. All of us probably have seen the movie The Secret. And in The Secret, they talk about the law of attraction. Here's what we never talk about. The law of attraction begins with the law of projection. In other words, you attract into your life that which you're also projecting. So the thing I love about gratitude, and this goes to what Dr. Josh was asking me to talk about, is that gratitude is an emotional trump card. It is literally impossible to be grateful and jealous at the exact same time. Try it. Try to be in your heart grateful, and in that same moment be jealous. In your heart be grateful, and in that same moment be mad. Be grateful, and in that same moment be coveting somebody else's relationship. It's literally impossible. Gratitude always wins. Gratitude always trumps every other negative emotion. That's what I love about the emotion of gratitude. So one of the things that I want you to do, my friend, is every one of you all make a daily commitment to just put a journal on your nightstand. And in the morning, first thing I want you to do is I want you to number 1 through 10, okay? Just number 1 through 10. And make what you're writing down simple stuff. I'm grateful for oxygen. I'm grateful for air conditioning on my skin. I'm grateful that I can hear the birds outside. I'm grateful that I have clean sheets to lay on. I'm grateful that I have a pillow, because how many of you have ever seen a homeless person sleeping outside and they have no pillow? So they're laying on a park bench with no pillow. I saw that the other day and I said, man, I'm so grateful for pillows. Little small stuff. Take a minute right now in the chat and name 3 things that you're grateful for that are small, and begin to start making a list every morning of what you're grateful for. As you project gratitude out into your day, watch what's going to happen. Throughout your day, more things are going to come into your life that you will be grateful for. Gratitude is an emotional trump card. There is no way you can be grateful, sincerely grateful, and any other negative emotion at the exact same time. So that's the first big tip, right? Focus on gratitude. Second tip that I want to share with you is understand something that my mentor, Dr. Stephen Covey, taught me years ago before he passed. Dr. Stephen Covey wrote the runaway best-selling book, 7 Habits of Highly Effective People. One of the things that's going to help you with tremendous amounts of uncertainty is understanding that there's only 2 circles in life: the circle of concern and the circle of influence. The circle of concern is everything outside of your control that affects you every single day, but you actually have no purse power to change it. The weather, laws, policy, COVID-19. We can vote, but the election, right? There's a lot of things that, gravity, right? All kinds of stuff that happens that affects us. It concerns us, but we have no real purse power to change it, right? So all that stuff is stuff that most people put a lot of emotional energy in. Dr. Covey says, instead of focusing on the circle of concern, put all of your energy into the circle of influence. The circle of influence is what you have direct control over every single day. I want you all to take a quick minute in the chat. I want you to type out 2 things that you have direct control over: your attitude, your eating, your habits. Come on, somebody, right? Your spiritual life, right? Your friends, your associations, your connections. Write out 2 things that you have direct control over. What am I trying to say to you? The best way to combat uncertainty is to control what you can control. Put all of your emotional energy into the things that you have direct control over. And as you focus on growing your circle of influence, the circle of concern can do you no harm. I'm gonna say that again. The more you focus them and blow into the circle of influence with the things that you can control, like Ernesto was talking about, intermittent fasting, right? Like Kevin Bracy was talking about, by controlling the 6 F's in his day. The more we focus on the things that we can control, right? How Hoan talked about the PMS. The more we focus on the things that we can control and blow into that every day, that circle of influence is going to get bigger and bigger and bigger, and the circle of concern can do us no harm. My friend, stress, fear, anxiety, all that stuff goes away as soon as faith shows up. Have faith in controlling what you can control, and let gratitude be your emotional trump card, and you will shift your life. That's a guarantee.
Delatorro, I'm so glad you said that, because you set me up, and I did want to share that with everyone. I think, I let O'Keefe talk about winning the day. Juan talked about a variety of different things as far as your physical, as far as singing in the morning. Delatorro did a great thing where he talked about not worrying about the concern, but the influence. And one of the things that I wanted to bring up, and I'm so glad that Dale actually set me up for without even knowing, is this concept of faith.
Yeah.
Now, one of the things I like to always share with people is faith is the opposite of fear. First of all, so faith is the opposite of fear. Now, me coming from a spiritual background, I understand that faith comes by hearing, and according to the scripture, it says hearing by the word of God. But to make it more into a collegiate circle, really hearing affirmations and hearing positive words. So the more positive words that I hear, the more inspirational words I hear, the more truth about my greatness that I hear, the more stronger and the more powerful and the more effective I'll become at eradicating the fear in my life. And one thing I discovered is a lot of times many of the people are being challenged with fear because they haven't filled their cup up with enough faith or enough positive, not only positive words, but internal conversations as well. There was a study, and the study took place where there was two jars of rice. And for 30 days, one jar of rice they spoke positive to, and the other jar of rice they spoke negative to. And after about 27 days of this study, they found that the jar of rice that they spoke negative to, it began to deteriorate. And the jar of rice they spoke positive to actually began to have more life. And what the study showed us from a scientific standpoint is the words that we say, the words that we speak have a direct impact on our well-being. And so what I would encourage people to do if they're dealing with stress, if they're dealing with particularly fear or uncertainty, is to begin to speak. Speak what you believe. I tell people all the time, before it happens, you should already be speaking it. Before it manifests, you should already be speaking it. And so I just want to encourage people that you got to speak it. You got to say what you already know about yourself. And so while we're getting on to the next question, if you can just begin in the chat room, because I want to show you the power of this concept. If we can go into the chat room right now, and if people can just start saying positive words for other people, start telling people you're destined for greatness. You're amazing. You're awesome. You're going to make it. You're going to overcome. If you just start giving those positive affirmations to people in the chat and people start reading it, it'll start increasing their faith. It'll start increasing their strategy. There's something powerful that happens when we begin to speak and speak positive words to each other. And again, these are some of the things that we can do to deal with the challenges. Now, I want to move on to this next question. I see the chat filling up right now. Y'all are great. Y'all are awesome. Keep it up. You're strong. You're amazing. You're going to make it no matter how great the challenge is. This is where we give each other life, y'all. This is where we encourage each other. And you want to have a support group. You want to have a group of speakers that are encouraging you, that are motivating you on a daily basis to get that fear, that uncertainty, and that stress out of your life. I'm going to move on to Tish now. Tish, as you know, all of us are all big advocates, but Tish, you are definitely a huge advocate when it comes to the racial injustice in this world. You do so much work as far as protesting, speaking up for our people. Tish, you are this generation's Harriet Tubman. You are that woman, and I just want to salute you for being that woman. And I'm not just saying this to be cute. I'm just being serious. But Tish, one of the things you know from our book #Blackout is you have a lot of people, specifically blacks, that are saying, "I'm just tired. I'm just tired." You know what I'm saying? Like one thing after another. I'm just tired. I'm beat up. Tish, I want to know, for those that are just tired, what do we do? What do you do when you keep seeing shooting after shooting after shooting after? What do you do? Microaggression after microaggression after microaggression. Tish, I'm tired. What do we do?
Man. I saw a video just yesterday of a brother being arrested in Sacramento. I don't know, Bracy, if you even saw this, but the brother had his hands up over his head. He did what the cops asked him to do. His hands were up, and a cop came up behind him and just drop kicked him in the middle of his back when his hands were already up and clasped over his head. When we can't even move beyond one situation before there's another situation, I think it's very key and very critical that we have to understand that it's heavy. We have to understand that it's okay to not be okay. We have to understand that this is not something new. This incessant racism and this systemic and systematic racism is not something new. This has been incessant since the first Black bodies were on the shore, left for Mama Africa, and were taken all across the diaspora. And so for my professionals who are on this call, who are Black, who identify as Black, and I'm not talking about folks who want to be, who aren't, like the lady from Duke, that's a whole nother conversation though. We're talking about people who are, if I can use the words of our civil rights stalwart, Fannie Lou Hamer, literally, who are sick and tired of being sick and tired. I want to say, recognize when it's time to hit the reset button. Recognize when it's time to hit the reset button, And that's number one. Number two, use your voice. Please do not acquiesce. Do not succumb to the pressure of not speaking up and giving voice to your concerns to your fellow constituents in and out of the office, in and out of the workplace, in and out of your private life, your personal and private life. Stevie Wonder can see that there's injustices going on right now. And so when we don't say anything, we're compliant. Silence equals compliance. So use your voice, Black and brown people. Speak up when something needs to be said. Shout out to the ancestor, John Lewis, who's talked about getting in good trouble. When you see something, say something. And it's not about being snitches. See, we get caught up too many times. Snitches get stitches and all that kind of stuff. We're talking about humanity and basic rights and equity, not equality, but equity across the board. And so when there are times for you to give voice, to represent, and to give voice to your concerns, don't be quiet. Speak up and say something. And let me just say this, because I train also on communication. Even if you have the angry Black woman and the angry Black man that other people view you as, label on your head, and even though it's not for you, it's anger, it's passion, it's conviction. Don't let that overcome you and keep your lips closed when you need to give voice and say, hey, listen, everybody, your coworkers are not okay. Your coworkers had a bad weekend, and there are some serious issues that are going on in the world that are affecting us disproportionately at this time. We need a minute to sit back. So yes, start your ERG, that's fine. Be a part of your ERG, but just don't make it something, Josh, on our, 2 or 3 Zooms ago, we talked about in Blackout, when we talked about woke washing. Lots of businesses and corporations are making sure they have Black Lives Matter and all of these kinds of things, you know, in their windows and posted up and releasing statements. But what about the Black and brown faces in high places? What about you walking your talk? What about you actually saying, let's put some action behind what our mission and our vision and our mission and a vision statement of our company or organization is supposed to be about? So no, we're not okay. We're tired. We're exhausted. And we can't even move forward without one thing else happening that is catastrophic. Shout out to the God and the ancestor, Chadwick Boseman. So many people are affected by his recent transition, and I think Black folks even more particularly, because he was the first time that many Black people from 8 to 80 saw a superhero on the silver screen, that actually saw someone with magic powers that could fly, and a good guy, and a king, and who was acknowledging and who was accepting of his African royalty and his ancestry. So those were some things that people looked at on a deeper level, not just because it was a Marvel character, but because it actually represented something that many people had never even seen before. So final note, give voice, recognize when you must hit the reset button and take a minute and step back and regroup, but always give voice. Do it in a way that is that you speak with power, conviction, and authority. And don't worry if others are intimidated. You can't control what they think about you, but make sure you speak up and give voice. In good trouble. You see something, say something. Shout out to the ancestors.
No, that's awesome, Tish. Thank you so much. And I want to move this conversation to Kevin Bracy. Kevin, you have an amazing story with your son Kobe. And I encourage you all, if you haven't followed Kevin, I mean, what his son has went through is an inspiration to anyone that watches the story. Kevin, you've been the father, so I know. I mean, there's just been those days where you're like, man, you're like just tired, and like, I mean, this is your son. And so, Kev, I'm gonna move it to you, and then Juan, I'm gonna have you go afterward, because your family came from Vietnam, and there's a lot that you can talk about as well, being tired and exhausted. But I'm gonna start with you, Kev. Then we're gonna move it to Juan. Kev, what do people do, man? You know about this. You know what's going on. You're living this place. consistently. So I'll let you take it away.
Well, I mean, there's first of all, I like to always acknowledge what's real before I get to all the positivity, because it's heavy right now. It's tough right now, and that's real. I don't care how many strategies we have. We're still human beings. I know I am. Let me speak for me. I'm still human, and I know all the things in my mind and all my strategies that I teach and all the things to do. But I still wake up with a heavy heart. Today, I got up feeling some kind of way, and I just, why are you feeling like that? I got up and did all my morning stuff, get up and begin the day the greatness way, and prayed and do all the things, and still was trying to break out as I was in the gym working out, knew that when I got to this space with you guys, that everything, right now, if there's a heaven on earth, I'm in it right now. We got great orators around us with all of this quality content. There's positive energy emanating from my computer right now. But when you're tired, I know for me, with all of the racial injustices going on in the world right now, what I have to do for me is I have to turn to youth, because I believe that we all got to do it in our own way. And I know me, and I know my temper, right? And I don't spend a whole bunch of time dealing with adults when it comes to the conversations that we're having right now. I deal with youth. I create a connection session on my screen with some middle schoolers and some high schoolers. And what my call is to influence the young people, to make connections, to get to know people's stories. The more I know about you, the more you know about me, the better we treat each other. Even if I was trained up and raised to be a racist, if you know a little bit more about me and I know a little bit more about you, I believe humanity surfaces. I believe that empathy surfaces. I believe that compassion surfaces. So when I'm in a bad space, I got to quickly reach out to the youth that I know through Instagram, through Facebook, the parents and the teachers that I know, create a connection session, come up with some questions, and lead the uncomfortable conversations with youth, because I believe that's who I believe the most in, our youth. So that's what I have to do in order to feel like I'm contributing in some way, rather than sitting back on the sidelines waiting for everything to happen. That's one. I connect with the youth. Number two, I have to be extra aware of what I put before my eye gates, my ear gate, and what's coming out of my mouth. I literally was down in the doldrums a few weeks ago. Why? Because I was sitting around watching the news all day long. Why was I watching the news? I know better than that. I know better than that. I teach, don't watch the NEWS, negative education with stories. Don't watch that stuff. I teach it all the time. But I got caught up. Why? Because I'm sitting back waiting for the moment when an anchor is going to say, okay, it's open now. The gyms are back open and the schools are back open. We got this thing under control. I'm waiting for that. And it wasn't coming. So I'm waiting I'm anticipating those words. We're back to normal. Let's roll. And I watched the news for weeks on end. So no wonder why I was in the doldrums. No one, yes, the news and social media all day long through our ear gate, through our eye gate, and coming out. What we're watching and what we're listening to is going to come out of our mouths. Why am I talking like this? What are you ingesting? So I turn to the youth. That's one. Number two, I have to be a great custodian over what I put before my eyes and what I put in my ears and what I'm speaking out of my mouth. You said it, Josh. What we're speaking out of our mouths. When your mind goes negative, your mouth goes positive. When your mind goes negative, your mouth goes positive. I call that the Muhammad Ali mentality. We cannot give right now. When we're in unprecedented times, calls for unprecedented focus. Yeah, easier said than done. I get it. I'm with you. It is. But the Muhammad Ali mentality is this. My favorite athlete of all time. Do not give mental recognition, mental attention, mental consciousness to the possibility of fear, failure, doubt, or defeat. I'm going to say it one more time and I'm going to sum it up. Do not give mental, write this down in the chat. Do not give mental recognition, mental consciousness, mental awareness to the possibility of fear, failure, doubt, or defeat. How do I do that, Kevin? That sounds cute. Every moment of our lives, consciousness. When your mind goes negative, your mouth goes positive. When my mind says, man, I am struggling, my mouth says, but there's greatness in me and I can overcome this. When my mind says, what the heck is happening in the world? There's so much uncertainty. My mouth says, but if I keep working and I change my focus right now, I can feel better in this moment. When my mind says, I don't know if I can make it through all this, my mouth says, I can make it. I just got to keep inhaling and exhaling. I will get through this. The battle is right here in our minds. When our minds go negative, our mouths must go positive. That is a discipline. Write that in the chat. Hashtag mind goes negative. Hashtag mouth goes positive. That's what I have to do when I'm in this space, and even when I'm doing all the right things. Sometimes I still have to fight the doldrums. I just like to keep it a stack when I'm talking. I don't like to do it. Sometimes when I'm doing all the right things that I know to do, I still feel some kind of way. But I just hope and trust and believe that if I'm in a bad moment, I'm hoping that I can create the right thoughts to create a better moment. And then if it lasts the entire day, I have when I wake up the next day and there's sun in the sky or clouds in the sky, I can start all over again. Can't hear you, Josh. Can't hear you. Can't hear you, Josh. I want to hear you, though. I want to hear you bad. So I think it was Juan that was going to go next, right, Juan? Okay.
Hey guys, so Josh was sharing earlier so I come from a family that escaped the Vietnam War. My dad was a fighter pilot with the Republic of Vietnam, and when the war was over, he was forced into re-education camp for 4 years until my mom broke him out. They fled to the United States, where we lived in what was considered the top 3 most dangerous cities in the entire country. And just seeing all that they went through, it constantly gave me perspective of the importance of, one, continue to keep going when times get tough, but also the importance of connecting and asking for help. One of my favorite quotes is an African proverb. It says, if you want to go fast in life, go alone. But if you want to go farther in life, go together. And what helped us through these difficult times and what helps me continually go through challenging moments is realizing that life is a team sport. I know in the chat earlier, you guys shared where you're coming from. I know we have Alicia from Nova Southeastern, Joseph from UConn, Elena from ASU, Jackie from Hudson Community College. That's what your last name is from the school you're from. But the front of your jersey is the Circle of Change. That's what we're here for. You attended this virtual event. You are part of this new family and realize that you're not alone. One of the biggest mistakes I had earlier on was thinking if I ask for help, it shows that I'm weak. But I remember my senior year in college, I took a class. Is a psychology class, but students knew it as the crying class. Why? Because you go there, you share emotions, you cry, and you do the same thing every week. Personally, for me, I was like, nah, I'm good. I was the type of student who was like, what's your problem? Let me handle it. Next, what's your problem? Let me handle it. And it was until I took this class, it made me realize asking for help, the willingness to be vulnerable, it doesn't show that you're weak. It actually shows that you're strong because it takes courage to do that. So again, going through what we went as a family, the different challenges I went through growing up, from the suicidal thoughts, financial challenges that we had overcome, it all came down to, one, when times got tough, it's remembering why we're doing this. But then two, I think most importantly, is not relying on yourself, but reaching out to one another and asking for support and help. And what we realized the other week, we did 13 virtual events all across the country. And we had events just like this where people were staying on, they're engaged. Everyone is craving that connection. It's just, we got to be willing to connect in a different way. So my hope and prayer is that you guys, when you're going through a tough time and you take care of yourself and scared and worried, is reach out to others for support, because we are all on the same team.
That's so true, Juan, and thank you so much. I believe everyone can hear me now. My audio went out, man, but again, watch this. Stuff happens. Your technology goes out. You want to have a perfect virtual masterclass, and everything's going right, and man, my audio went out. What am I going to do? It's going to look bad. Stuff happened. Failures are preparation for success. I made the adjustment. I made some modifications. I pivoted. I'm right back now. We're getting right back focused. I'm not going to get distracted. I'm not going to have a pity party. I'm not going to procrastinate. No, I'm going to get right back on, get right back focused, and continue doing what I'm doing. You got to keep going and going and going, just like the Energizer Bunny. Keep going and going and going. And I just want to say really quickly, Kev, when I had my hands up like that, I was cheering you on. You have me up in here shouting right now. And Juan, man, phenomenal story, by the way. I caught the end of it as I was fixing everything, man. So thank y'all so much for helping out. Thank you for the relationships. And I just want to say real quick, because I'm getting ready to go to Ernesto and Delatorro for sure. But I want to say this right now, man. Relationships are so critical. I can go through this whole group. These are some of my greatest friends, really, like some of my best friends. I mean, like brothers and sisters, to be honest with you. I mean, like we have real conversations. I mean, I can remember Kevin, man. I've called Kevin, and Kevin's always gives me a word. He always inspires me. I mean, when I call him on the phone and I listen to his voice message, I feel like I can change the world. Then I got Ernesto, man. Every time I talk to Ernesto, he's just encouraging and he's motivating and just so supportive. And so then I go to Tish, man. Me and Tish have some real situations, and Tish is one who's going to tell me the truth. She will let me know. Get it together, Josh. And then I got Delatorro McNeal, man. I'll never forget. We do this ministry in South Florida, and he came out here one time. He said, "J.O., you need to do something live. Like you need to just set it up." And ever since that, we've done 4 conferences, and we've been live ever since because of that relationship. And then Juan is the man, man. Juan has done so much stuff to admire me. So that whole concept of friends is so important. I just can't stress that enough, of having the right person in your corner. So I'm going to go to Delatorro as well as Ernesto, whoever wants to go first. And I just want y'all to offer your insight. Because of time, if you can offer some self-care stuff that you all do, as far as self-care, what do you do to take care of yourself? What do you do to keep yourself together in the challenging times? So Ernesto, Delatorro, whoever wants to go first, it's in your hands.
I'll go if you want. Cool. All right. Thanks, Josh. Thanks for that question. And I think this is what everybody showed up for, one of the meat and, to the bone here. So let me give you a few suggestions, okay? Because I think the biggest challenge is we can talk about this stuff all day, but it's actually taking action and doing something. So I'm going to give you a few recommendations, okay? The first one, I'd like everybody to hop on BJ Fogg's Tiny Habits, and I'll put it in the chat in a second. But BJ Fogg's Tiny Habits actually has a challenge, and it's a 5-day challenge to help you change habits. And you can sign up on it on the site, and they'll actually give you like a coach for a week where they check in on you to see how you're doing they ask you to change 3 tiny habits. I've done it multiple times now. Why is this so important? Over 40% of your day is composed of habits. And some of our habits aren't the healthiest ones right now in terms of what we eat, when we eat, social media, TV consumption, not exercising, et cetera, et cetera. So I want us to change that by taking on BJ Fogg's Tiny Habit Challenge. That's 1. 2, I'm going to suggest to you, and I want to try to get her name right, Kelly McGonigle's TED presentation on how to make stress your friend. I think this is a great way to approach it because the research that she has done behind this and the suggestions that she makes basically say that stress is actually kind of good for you, but it's how you deal with it that impacts your physical being, your emotional well-being. So it's how you tackle it. So again, it's Kelly McGonigle's, McGonigals, her TED presentation on how to make stress your friend. Check that out because that's something that we need to do right now. Third, I would suggest, and I'm a big fan of Sean Akers' Happiness Advantage, and this kind of goes to what Delatorro was talking about a little bit too. Watch his TED presentation, read The Happiness Advantage, Before the Happiness Advantage. Both of those books are excellent, by the way, and the TED presentation gives you a summary, but we need to change our lenses. We're seeing too much negative, so we need to start focusing on more positives. So find a circle, and I even put this in my notes for you all today. Some of us may need to alter or completely change our circles. You know how we love to say that if you're the smartest one in your circle, it's time to change circles. Well, if you're the only one that's positive in your circle, it's time to change your circle too. You need to surround yourself with others that are going to help you, keep you positive, motivate you, inspire you, and push you, and challenge you, and call you out, because you might be part of the problem sometimes. All we do is complain about something, but if we're not doing anything about it, don't expect any change. So those are a few things that I would suggest. And then the last thing that I'll say, because I had these all set up for y'all too, I'm just going to rattle off some apps for you, and I'll try to put them in the chat in a minute while Delatorro or whoever goes next. Headspace, Simple Habit, Happify, and Mood Meter. I'll explain them a little bit, but Headspace and Simple Habit are basically meditation apps. Happify will actually measure your happiness levels and check in with you on a regular. And if you're wondering why that's important, your happiness level can help determine the length of your life. If people want to work with you, how productive you are, how healthy you are. So yes, your happiness does matter. And Mood Meter can do regular check-ins with you. I have mine set up for 3 times a day, where it asks you what kind of mood you're in. Imagine if we start teaching our students to use this app and to be able to express the type of mood that they're actually in, using the appropriate words, the appropriate terminology, what each word means, and that's critical. So those are just a few, besides the obvious ones, such as the journaling, exercising, but I just wanted to share a few of them, and I'll put some of them in the chat while Delatorro goes. So I know I unloaded a lot there, but I wanted to get it out there for y'all to be able to take full advantage of. Take it away, Delatorro.
Whoop, 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 whoop. Yeah. So awesome, Ernesto, man. Powerful stuff, brother. I tag team with you, my friend. But I wrote down all those apps. Great stuff. I can't wait to check that stuff out myself. I think one of the things that's really going to be important is when you experience any kind of setback or challenge or hardship, and Dr. Josh just talked about this, it is vitally important that you have positive people around you that you check in with. So I want to ask you a simple question, right? Who are the 5 closest people to you? Who are the 5 people that you spend the most time with? Kind of take inventory of the people that you text the most, the people you talk to the most, right? And the reason why that's important is because when you get hit with that gut punch, come on, Kevin Bracy, that takes you to the mat and you got to get back up again, Muhammad Ali, it's the people in your corner, metaphorically, that are encouraging you to get back up off the mat, Rocky Balboa, right? At the end of the day, it's so important that you have powerful people in your corner. I love something that Denzel Washington says. He says, if you hang around 5 millionaires, you will be the 6th. If you hang around 5 amazing people, you will be the 6th. But if you hang around 5 idiots, you will be the 6th. At the end of the day, we become who we hang around. And the U.S. Census takes it a step further. The U.S. Census says that we were earned within 5 to 10 grand of our 5 closest friends. What am I trying to say to you? Now more than ever before, this is not the economy. This is not the time of year to be hanging around with stupid folks that are not going somewhere, that are not purposeful, that are not intentional, and that don't have a comeback, resilient, fortitude type attitude. You want to surround yourself with people who, when you fall, when you fail, when things get hard and difficult, they will lift you back up again. When things don't work out like you planned, you can go to them, tell them. They're not going to judge you. They're not going to criticize you. They're not going to look their nose down at you, but they're going to love on you and tell you that you're amazing and tell you that you're awesome and get you back up again. I love something that we started this conversation with, which is radical grace. All right. My sister Tish talked about grace, giving yourself more grace. My therapist talks about radical self-compassion. And yet I said it, my therapist. I actually go to therapy. Why? Because I'm a mega influencer and I'm always pouring out on social media, pouring out YouTube and Facebook and Zooms. I'm constantly pouring out. So guess what? Because I'm always pouring out, I want to be able to go to somebody who's going to pour into me. Does that make sense? And I think it's so vitally important. And that's also a part of self-care. Not because I got any major issues going on, but I just want to be able to have somebody that I can bounce ideas off of and say, guess what? I'm not crazy. I'm actually great. So I think it's so important, y'all, that we take care of ourselves, because if you're constantly pouring out and you don't have, listen, you're going to burn bright, but you're going to burn out if you don't have sources where you can be poured back into. So I highly recommend that you have quality people around you who love you, who support you, who believe in you, who want to push you to the next level, right? I think it's also so very important that you practice a daily self-care routine. I think it's so vitally important. So a couple things that I do every single day. I talked to you about journaling earlier. So very important. Another thing I love to use, whether it's WhatsApp or Marco Polo, I love to video chat with my friends, because I have a lot of friends that live in different parts of the country, et cetera, et cetera. I love to do a quick video chat with my friends, to check in with them, touch bases with them, see their face, see their expression. That keeps me up. That keeps me positive. Also, another thing you can do every single day, have theme music. Have a playlist of music that instantaneously puts you in a good, upbeat mood. Music is the #1 atmosphere setter in the world. Kevin Bracy was talking about fitness, right? So is Juan, I guarantee you. Neither one of those, and I'm into it as well, but none of us who do fitness and well-being, and I know we all do it on different levels, none of us do it without music, because music is the #1 atmosphere setter in the world. So I want you to get yourself a good playlist of songs that as soon as you hear the song, it shifts your physiology and puts you in a good place, good mood, puts you in a good mindset so that you can go after the day the way you really want to go after it. And pamper yourself a little bit, y'all. It's really important. One thing I do every night, I take a bathtub. And I'm a dude, and I get in the bathtub. I run a bathtub every single night. I put like 5 or 6 different little oils and different little smell goods in there, and I sit my butt in that tub, and I put on my little spa music, and I woo. And you're a dude and you take baths. Yes, I'm a dude and I take baths. That's just something that I do for myself, right? And I think that that's so vitally important, that you pour into yourself. And here's what I do metaphorically. Anything that didn't go right in my day, I go ahead and visualize it in the water. And then when I pull the plug up, all the negativity, whatever didn't work out in the day, goes out with the dirty water. And what's left is me. And I'm good and I'm clean. And I get off and I'm good to go. Does that make sense? Another thing I want to share with you real quick as a part of self-care, that I'm not telling everybody to go do this, but so I grew up on dogs. I love dogs, but because of my speaking schedule, it was literally impossible for me to get a dog. I'm so grateful for COVID-19, because guess what? It slowed my life down enough for me to get a dog. So this is my puppy. He's 5 months old, and his name is Simba. And he is a Shih Tzu. He's a Shih Tzu and a Poodle mix. And I love him to death. And he has been an amazing addition to my life. And he's small enough so that when my travel schedule does pick back up, he can either stay with my daughters, or I can actually take him on the road with me, which is really cool because he can fit right up underneath the seat. But I love him to death. And he actually has his own Instagram page too. It's Little King Simba, LIL Instagram. So this is the part of my self-care as well. Just pouring back into myself, doing things that make me happy. So I believe that self-care is so important, y'all, because if we're pouring out constantly and we're not finding ways to get poured back into, I think we're doing a deficit to ourselves. I'm taking salsa classes right now. I'm taking bachata classes right now, y'all. I mean, I'm living my life to the fullest. I just got done taking an online boating certification. So now I can go and do boating. What am I trying to tell you? Use this time right now to pour into yourself in personal development, personal enrichment, things you've always wanted to do. Take online classes. If you wanted to go skydiving, social distance in the mountains. Y'all, there's so many other ways besides, like Kev talked about, so many others, looking at the news, that you can go out there and live an amazing, safe, mask on, socially distanced. You can still live an amazing life right now. You just got to do it a little differently. So open up your mind and your heart to some different ways that you can still live an amazing quality of life in spite of what's going on in this pandemic. And if you open up your heart and your mind to self-care, and write this down, self-care is not selfish. Write that down. Self-care is not selfish. Okay, because without you, nothing works. I'm gonna say that again. Without you, nothing works. So you got to be able to pour back into yourself, because without you, nothing works. Footnote about you. Realize how special and unique you are. And I'm gonna hand it back, Josh. Realize how special and unique you are. Don't compete with anybody. Celebrate your own uniqueness. Because if 2 of us are the same, 1 of us is unnecessary. I'm gonna say that one more time. If 2 of us are the same, 1 of us is unnecessary. Realize how uniquely brilliant, amazing, awesome, crunk, ninja you are, and love yourself to the fullest, and manifest that love every day in healthy habits that Ernesto talked about, that pour back into you so you can pour out into others.
Follow up to Delatorro's comment was dealing with routine. I think so many times it's our routine. Your routine shift from season to season. And sometimes one of the reasons we're tired, one of the reasons we're exhausted, or one of the reasons we're overwhelmed, maybe we're doing too much, and maybe it's time to step back, maybe it's time to cut off some stuff, or maybe it's time to modify your routine. And so I think it's really important also to be aware of your routine. I like to use a concept, your DMR, your daily motivational routine. What are you doing daily? Not only, as Kevin Bracy says, to win the day, but also to be prepared for what I call the unexpected challenges as well. So I love that concept of routine. We literally have about 2 minutes left, as Tish was probably saying so wonderfully. I'm hoping that this panel will come back and we can do part 2 in 3 weeks. I'm gonna ask them all. If so, will y'all get y'all final thoughts? If y'all are willing to come back in 3 weeks, I would love to continue this because I still think there's a lot to be discussed. There's so much more to talk about, as well as to answer questions. I think the people here will be here in 3 weeks, but I know people's schedules are busy. But if everyone was willing to be here in 3 weeks, I would love, absolutely love, to do a part 2. But before we get ready to close, I'm actually going to give everyone a chance to give their final statement. I just want to make all of you aware. Circle of Change is coming up. So if you haven't registered yet, this is what your students are going to get. Stuff like this. They're going to get this kind of content. They're going to get this type of empowerment. They're going to feel this type of energy. If you were impacted by this program, I encourage you to sign up for the Circle of Change Virtual Leadership Conference. Again, it's going to be off the charts. Number 2, if you're interested in bringing any of us to your campus as a speaker, again, I really don't have to promote any of these speakers. They're all top-notch, A1, off the charts. Again, when you get them, they're going to do the job really well. They're going to exceed your expectations, and they're going to transform your students' lives. So there's a Google form there, as well as their LinkedIn. So if you want to bring them to your campus, I encourage you to do so. They've empowered me today, and I'm sure they've empowered you as well. So make sure you get them, book them, because I really think that our generation needs it. I think our colleges need it. I think our students need these speakers. And so I want to encourage you all to, to reach out to them and get them booked. So we're going to get ready to close. I know we're going to go a little bit over time. If you don't have to leave, don't worry. This is going to be our last question. But then we'll be back. Hopefully, if they're all willing to come back in 3 weeks, we'll be back for a part 2. So I'm asking everyone, if you're able to come back, if you can let us know. I know your schedules are busy. You may not be able to. But if you could, I would love to have you back because I think there's so much more to talk about. But this final question that I want to conclude with, I know we're all speakers. In 2 minutes, your most inspirational story, person, or quote that keeps you moving forward. Juan, since I started with you last, I'm going to go to Juan, to Delatorro, to Tish, Ernesto, KB, and then we'll close it out. Juan, it's on you.
All right, I'll keep mine short and simple. For me, with Tish mentioned earlier about Chad Boseman, I became a huge fan of him when he did his honoring speech for Denzel Washington at the AFI Festival. And he was just very humble, very gracious. And what blew me away, and as many of you probably have heard, is that when he battled cancer for the last 4 years while filming all these different movies, and he was visiting kids who had cancer. So for me, it comes down to character versus reputation, where character is who you are, reputation is what people think you are. So strive every day to develop your character. Realize during these challenging times, navigating this new normal, that these challenges, it reveals where you're at, and you have a choice to develop your character from there. So continue to strive to develop your character, take care of yourself. And then lastly is, you got all this great insight and information. Ask yourself right now, what are 3 pieces of pearls of wisdom that you got from our time together that resonates with you that you can apply immediately right now?
Awesome, Juan. Thank you so much. Hey, Juan, are you available in 3 weeks? I didn't hear. Are you available in 3 weeks, Juan? Just want to know real quick. I'm gonna ask
I'll commit to come back again.
Awesome. Give Juan a shout out. Delatorro, it's on you, brother.
I hope you all had a wonderful time. I know I had an amazing, remarkable time being here and sharing with you all. And for me, I absolutely love and adore. I'm going to piggyback actually off of what Juan was talking about, because I love the importance of mentorship. And if there's one key principle for success that I'd like to leave with you, is that there's 2 ways to get wisdom in life: mistakes or mentors. Either you can bump your head and try it your own way and hit your head 10,000 times, or you can find a quality, touchable mentor who can attach to and who will shorten your learning curve. I want to encourage you, wherever you want to go in your life, find a quality, touchable mentor who can show you the path, who can shorten your learning curve, who can connect you, who can help accelerate your results, who can help you come back from adversity faster. One of the biggest keys to my success in the speaking industry and in entrepreneurship is that I've had amazing mentors that have come into my life, wrapped their arms around me, held me accountable for extremely high standards, picked me up and dusted me off when I fell down, and never let me get too high on the high horse and never let my lows get me too low. So I just want to encourage you, my friend, find someone who's been there and done that so you can go there and do that. God bless you.
Awesome. Give it up for Delatorro McNeal. Dale, you know I'm going to ask you the question. You know, you're the busiest man in the world. Are you available on October 1st?
Whatever. You talk so much garbage. I'll be back, baby. I'll be back.
Yeah, baby, got Delatorro. I love it. And Dale, the next time we have this session, we're gonna play some salsa and some bachata. We can put the music. We're gonna get some music going. So we're gonna get a rocket here. Tish, it's on you, Tish. It's on you, Tish.
Well, Josh, you know, those were some incredibly ambitious words that you used there when you said I was the Harriet Tubman of my time. I definitely don't know about that. It's kind of loud. I'm not sure if somebody needs to mute the phone. I hear a lot of shuffling around. It's kind of hard for me to hear right now. But anyway, yes, since you did bring her into our space, I will acknowledge the ancestor, Harriet Tubman. One of the questions that you gave us earlier to prep for today's call was, what's one of the quotes that we live by? And I've got so many. People have called me a walking book of quotes before at speeches and trainings, but one that I will talk about now, because you mentioned the Sister Harriet, is one of her most famous quotes that said, I freed 1,000 slaves, but I could have freed 1,000 more had they known they were slaves. So it's time for people to get woke. It's time for you to open your, what did Bracy say? Your ear gates and your eye gates. That's good. But let me just say this before I hand it off to my brother here. COVID has maybe hit me very differently than probably anybody on this call, either participating or listening. The reason that it has not affected me, I don't care about it. I really don't. I have sustained very deep loss. And I'm so glad Ernesto was talking for as long as he talked. That's no shade, Ernesto, but I'm glad that he spoke for as long as he spoke, because I just wet up some napkins that I had here on my desk, because I am in mourning now. I am grieving and I am in mourning now. And I, for a very long time, felt like my life was over and that it could not continue. And so I think Bracy was speaking from a very real space when he said, yeah, we're motivators and yeah, we pour out, but we don't feel like that all the time. In March, my beautiful, youthful, energetic, full of life mother made a very sudden and untimely and unexpected earthly transition to heaven. And it has been hard for me to pick myself up off the floor. And so I want to say to some folk who are listening, everybody in my family is gone. My brother, my father, and my mother. The only person that is left is my sister. And when you don't want to get out the bed, and when you don't want to put one foot in front of the other, when you have hopelessness that has rained down on you in your entire existence, when you can't see tomorrow, more or less next week, when nothing else matters, when hopelessness seems to be the only thing that seems to wake you up in the morning other than wet pillows, sometimes your friends, sometimes the resources, and sometimes what I named your SCR, your self-care regimen, is something that can save your life. Because there's been some people who are on this call right now who may have toiled with suicide. There are some people on this call who have lost and sustained deep loss since this pandemic. There are some people who've lost their jobs. There are some people who really even tuning in right now, maybe on a borrowed computer or on a phone that's a cricket phone, and you have 7 cents left in your bank account. I want to say that when you see other people, as Delatorro said, in your circle of influence, who are still running the race, that can encourage you and inspire you when your cup is empty. Okay? I don't have any super fantastic words and strategies to say. I'm talking to a person right now on here who may be on their last leg. I got trophies and all this stuff behind me. I got trophies and plaques all over my wall in my office. It don't mean nothing when your cup is empty and hopelessness seems to saturate your mind and your heart. So I want to say personally and publicly, a major, major thank you to Josh Fredenburg, who for some reason has invited me to be on multiple Zoom events over these last 6 months, which has given me an opportunity to pick myself up and put on my little $20 sweater and put some makeup on my face and try to feed into some other people who may need some encouraging words out there in the world. To teach, you got to learn, and to learn, you got to teach. So I want to personally thank him for continuing to call on me to be a force of influence on all of the Zooms that we've been doing these last 6 months. And so people, keep your friends, keep your people who you love and you cherish and you have relationships with, keep them close, because trust me when I say you're gonna need them one day, and they're gonna need you, and they're gonna need you at the right time that's gonna cross you over from one side to the next. So I wanna say your self-care regimen, number one, you have to develop a self-care regimen. Number two, you have to begin to, and I brought this stuff, I told John I was gonna bring my stuff, and then I promise I'm gonna end right now. I have started seeing a therapist. I am in grief counseling, and I have a career coach. I have all of those things in place right now to help put into perspective what the rest of my life is going to look like. I also have started to take yoga, because yoga is not about how good you can stretch, and yoga is not about if you can do downward facing dog. Yoga is about self-acceptance. And no matter how far you're stretching, how deep you're stretching, if you can do it or not, yoga is about accepting where you are and not letting your thoughts control you, but you controlling your thoughts. And so I've started yoga, and also I do herbs, and I am transitioning to plant-based diet. So I wanted to show you guys some of these things that can help boost your immunity. These two things right here I get from Trader Joe's that boost your immunity. And this I get, which is an herbal blend, which helps with antidepressants, because I have been very low and depressed. And this helps. I just put it in my juices here. So because it's real nasty by itself. And then of course I take zinc, I take vitamin C, and I of course can't live without my black seed oil and my sea moss. Okay. And so these are some things that I want you guys to continue. And me too, I'm not a doctor and I'm not giving anybody endorsements, but I know that God put medicine in food. And I also know that herbal supplements help much better than toxic supplements that are made in factories and laboratories. And so I went over my 2 minutes, Josh, but I hope that has really helped someone and touched someone and helps them to continue to keep on keeping on.
Miss Yamada had to come over here because the principal, my wife, is on a call over there. So if you hear somebody else speaking, my wife's on a call as a principal at the end. This is like 6 o'clock over here on the East Coast time, still given to her students. So Tish, first and foremost, on behalf of baby Xiomara and myself, we send our deepest condolences to you and your loved ones, and know that you have the strength and you are the pillar that not just your family needs, but our communities and everybody else does. So blessings to you and your loved ones, and our deepest and sincerest condolences. Okay. Now, and lastly, the last thing to Josh's question, inspiration, similar to my brother Juan, I have the privilege and the honor to say that I am my parents' American dream. They came to this country from Mexico to live a better life and to be able to allow us not to kill ourselves on a regular like they did, not to be discriminated without being able to speak back like they did. So that is my motivator, along with this one right here, who loves to be on the computer, as you can tell by looking. And more importantly, the last piece of advice that I want to give everyone is truly do what you love for a living. Make that mission a lifelong mission, because some of the longest life expectancy in this world is in Japan. And it's because they have a lifelong mission for what they want to accomplish. It doesn't get done by the time you retire at 62, 65. It's something that keeps you getting up every day, makes you get up earlier, stay up late. And you know, when they say if you follow your passion, the money will follow. Well, we've been blessed to be able to say that that's been the case for us. So my loved ones and my children, my wife get to see that. And if we get to make an impact, then we've done something good. And I appreciate each and every one of y'all for pouring into me and for everybody for participating. So I'll wrap it up with that. Peace out. Thank you.
Awesome. Hey, thank you so much, Ernesto. I believe you all can hear me. I'm hoping you can. Ernesto, I got onto the tail end of it. I know it was great. Thank you for keeping the conversation going. Real quick, Ernesto, will you be able to join us in the next 3 weeks? I didn't get a chance to ask you yet. Will you be available, Ernesto?
Yes or no? Yes, Daddy needs to work. Yes, yes.
Okay.
Yeah, for sure, man. As long as the date's open, I'm good.
Awesome. Thank you so much, Ernesto. KB, it's on you.
Yes. From the words of my favorite athlete of all time, he said, "I'm the greatest." He said, "I'm pretty." He said, "I'm a bad man. I shook up the world. When I come to the fight, don't block the aisles of the doors, because Archie Moore will fall in 4. Last night I had a dream. In Africa, I had one hell of a rumble. I had to whip Tarzan's behind first for claiming to be the king of the jungle. For this fight, I've wrestled with alligators. I've tussled with a whale. I done handcuffed lightning and throw thunder in jail. You know I'm bad. I've murdered a rock. I've injured a stone. I've hospitalized a brick. I'm so mean, I make medicine sick. For this fight, oh man, I fell off. But let me tell you this. Muhammad Ali taught himself into greatness. No matter what's going on, the sadness, the anxiety, the fear, the moments of just the uncertainty, the one thing we have is our ability to talk ourselves into greatness. Muhammad Ali said, I'm a bad man. Who told him that? He did it. He said, I'm pretty. Who told him that? He did it. Every single day, every single moment. One thing we can control. Dale said, control what you can control. We got to talk ourselves into greatness. When our minds go negative, silently, our mouths must go positive, out loud. Do not give mental recognition, mental attention, mental consciousness to the possibility of failure, fear, doubt, or defeat. Mind goes negative silently, mouth goes positive, out loud. I am Kevin Bracy on Instagram and Twitter, Kevin Bracy on Facebook. Yes, Josh, before you even ask me, if my schedule is open on the day and the time that you send to me, all you got to do is send me the date and the time. And the answer is yes. Dr. J, you're a world changer. Dr. J, I'm grateful to be in your sphere, a friend. I'm grateful to call you a brother and for you to call me a brother. Brace up. I'll see y'all in 3 weeks.
Bracy, love you, man. Love you, man. Love you. Thank you so much, man. I love y'all so much, man. I mean, I don't know what else to say, y'all. I feel motivated. To be honest with y'all, is you can't see me on the screen, but I'm telling you, I was cheering every single person on. It was so powerful. And if you cannot tell, the reason why we all do what we do as speakers is to impact lives, to inspire, and to motivate. And I surely believe that you are motivated. I surely believe that you are empowered. So my call to you is this, is that you'll take this energy, you'll take this inspiration, you'll take this knowledge, you'll take this empowerment, and you'll go out there and spread it to other people. Because what I do know is this, is I know people are hurting right now. I know there's challenges right now. But again, we have the opportunity to be those vessels, to be those people, to be those leaders, to provide hope, to provide inspiration, and to activate the greatness in other people. And so I hope that you will take this. I hope that you will go out there, activate more people, because the more people walking in greatness, the more people walking in their fullest potential, I believe we'll overcome any challenge, we'll overcome any situation, but more importantly, we'll change our communities, we'll change our nation, and we'll change our world. I want to thank y'all so much for being a part of this virtual masterclass. I mean, honestly, we started in March. The reason I even did it was just to give back and just to give back to other people. And little did I know that we would still be here 5 to 6 months later doing these sessions and still being empowered, still being motivated, and still having so many people that were registering and still being a part of these discussions. I'm so grateful for you. Again, I don't take it lightly. I take it seriously. Every time we get the opportunity to do one of these or we get ready to opportunity to speak, I understand that someone's life or someone's next level could be in the midst of one conversation. So we don't take this for granted. We are grateful. We are honored. I'm appreciative that you would trust us and take time to be part of this program. And I'm just ecstatic, and I'm super excited what happened, and I'm super excited that everyone, as long as their schedules work, is agreeing to do it in 3 weeks. So listen, this is what you get to do. We're going to be back on October 1st. 3 weeks is October 1st. We are going to be back here 4 p.m. to 5:30 p.m. This is what I need you to do for those that are still here. Spread the word. Tell everyone about it. You know some friends. You know some students. If you got students, it's free. Get your student. Tell the world about this. We want to just set this thing off. Listen, I will have the link prepared within the next 3 days. It will be up, and I will make sure that I email all of you with the recording of this as well. But spread the word. Tell everyone you need to get here, because I believe that there's still some great things to talk about. Again, I believe we only scratched the surface. There's so many things I didn't even get a chance to get to, but we're going to talk about it in session 2, October 1st. It'll literally be the last quarter of the year. It'll be the 4th quarter. We're in the 3rd quarter right now, but October 1st, the 4th quarter begins, y'all. The last quarter of 2020. And I don't know about you, man. Life has hit us. Life has knocked us down. Life has made us cry. Man, we've been hit with a lot of stuff. But guess what? Champions rise in the 4th quarter. We win the year in the 4th quarter. So on October 1st, we're going to win the year. We're not going to just say cancel 2020. We're going to say 2020 was the greatest comeback. was the greatest victory that we've ever seen. This is going to be a year we're going to win. All we do, as DJ Khalid said, is win. All I do is win. We about to win the fourth quarter, y'all. So make sure you spread the word. Make sure you tell everyone about it. We're coming back in 3 weeks. I'm super excited because I know it's going to be amazing. Thank you, Juan. Thank you, Delatorro. Thank you, Tish. Thank you, Ernesto. Thank you, KB. Love y'all. Be blessed. Continue to do great things. Change the world. We'll see y'all in 3 weeks, y'all. Peace.